Hello everyone, it is Mark Berman from TVMI. I'm here with Bill Brioux.
Hey Mark, how you doing?
I am doing well. You are from TV Feeds My Family.
Yeah, I blog about television there and type up other stories for anyone
Right.
I can sell to in Canada.
And does TV really feed your family?
Luckily, my family have pretty well all moved out, so I just have to feed me and the cat, and that's going about 50-50.
Yeah, I'm not at that point yet. Nobody seems to want to leave my household. It's such a happy place.
You should move. Well, that's good, but you should move to Brampton, where I live. It's such a dull part of Ontario that my kids will never move back home.
Really?
Yeah. So,
Really?
the only advantage of living there.
It really is dull, huh? My neighborhood's I mean, if you're a single guy looking for some fun and frolic, I wouldn't live in where I live.
No?
No, I mean, you could hop on the train and go into the city for
Yeah.
your fun and frolic, but
Yeah.
I'd rather be in the city where the fun and frolic is right there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But who could pay,
Yeah.
who could afford to live in the city?
We should be doing a real estate show. Or,
But we're at the Winter Press Tour.
Yep.
And we're sitting, by the way, where we're outside at a little patio area. You hear there's some water in the background.
Yes.
It's very quaint.
It's beautiful out here.
Yes.
It's usually a little warmer, but
It's been cool and rainy here.
it has been the last
Yeah.
few days. But this
Yeah.
is a lovely garden. There's a fountain, and it's
Right.
one of the great features of the old Ritz-Carlton,
Yes.
now the Langham.
Yes, well, we're going to talk TV.
Yeah.
So we've been here now for 5 days.
5 days. Wow.
We've had cable here. We've had the CW. We've had CBS here today. We have Showtime coming up. Anything that tickles your fancy that looks like, wow, this is really good.
Well, just in terms of the tour, I think we talked about this earlier. We were both a bit underwhelmed at the HBO day.
Yes.
Usually that's when the press tour really starts. There's usually big names here.
Right,
We've had
right.
Nicole Kidman and movie stars like Julia. Oh my goodness! But the biggest names you can imagine. And this year we got Jack Black. I mean, it was
Julia Roberts, are you thinking of?
Julia Roberts. Yes, thank
Julia
you.
Roberts.
Yeah, that year there was all,
Yes.
there was Dustin Hoffman came
Yes,
by, and
yes.
What's his name? Who
Yes.
played the crazy music producer, Al Pacino.
Right.
So that
Right.
usually
Right.
HBO overwhelms us with star power. Not so much this year, and even the shows that they presented, I wasn't blown away by Togetherness, for example. I like that documentary though about the
That
New York.
documentary looks awesome. What is that called again?
It's called The Jinx.
That's right. It's about a guy apparently who's murdering a lot of people.
It's a Durst. It's a famous New York family that built the piece. All the
Real estate mogul.
yeah, these guys
Yeah.
have all the. I mean, they're the ones that
Right.
just built the Freedom Tower, I believe, on the site of the World Trade Center. So, crazy story about a guy who's killed 3 people and has gotten away with it.
No, that really looked good. We had a screening by HBO the other night.
Yeah.
I'm definitely going to follow that. But it's funny when you mention star power. I'll tell you a quick funny story. Years ago, when we had, I believe there was a session. Steven Spielberg was here. Tom Hanks was here. And it just so happened I walk in the lobby, and walking past me is the Roll-Offs. You know who they are?
The Rolos?
The Roll-Offs.
Oh yes,
From
yeah.
the little people,
Right,
big
yes,
people,
yes.
is that what it's called? Little people, big world, or something like that.
Big World, Little People.
Something
yeah,
like that.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, this was during the winter, so I happened to call my house, talk to my kids. This was many years ago.
Yeah.
And I said, oh, guess who was here? Steven Spielberg and Tom Hanks. Oh, okay. I mentioned the Roll-Offs. The kids were like, oh my God, you met the Roll-Offs?
Yeah.
So those, the definition of a star really varies.
It's true. Well, I met what was the guy, the father of the Roll-Offs? I met him in the bar for a short beer.
For sure. Well, how short was your da-dong, da-dong.
Yeah, you need a drummer here.
We don't have a drummer here. But is there anything that surprises you about the fall season? Is there anything that you're watching that you really...
I can hardly wait for the return of Mad Men. I thought that the session they had the other day,
Yeah.
where they talked about the final 7 episodes or 6 episodes.
7.
I really like that series, and and after that session, it even piqued my interest even more. The entire cast was up on the stage. John Hamm was very funny. I
Yes,
thought.
he was.
They asked him, "What are you going to do next?" He said, "Car detailing." But and the session before that for Better Call Saul was interesting too.
Oh, I think that's going to be a breakout.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the amazing thing, as we both know, with Breaking Bad, this was a show that for its first 5 seasons was not a hit traditionally. It had a small core audience. Everyone said it's a great show.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden, it broke out and exploded, and now the show's ending. But I think there's going to be a lot of interest in that completely.
Yeah.
And What really pissed me off about Mad Men, and I've got to be honest, I watched it. I'm not a huge fan.
Yeah.
But what I find really annoying that networks tend to do a lot, they ordered a final season of 14 episodes.
Yeah.
They show 7, and then they wait another year for the other 7.
Right. It's a cheat. It's absolutely
It's a cheat.
Now, they explained it the other day. Matthew Weiner said, well, but we shot them all at one time. I guess technically in terms of the unions, they have to do it that way, even if the network split them up.
Right.
But you're right. It is a drag to make us all wait and suffer for a year. Yeah.
But what a true success story.
Yeah.
And what's different about the winter tour is you come here, you don't have as many new show sessions. You have a lot of returning stuff. You have a mixture of things. We just came from a session with the new host of the Late Late Show.
Yes.
Nobody's getting his name right.
James Corden.
Corden.
Yeah.
I thought it was a good session.
Yeah.
I was a little surprised when I heard he was doing the show because I really didn't know anything about him.
Right.
I thought it was. What do you think about him?
I've seen, in Canada, the Graham Norton show is on BBC Canada, and I enjoy that. I think it's a great talk show, and they often have American big name guests on there.
Right.
And he was on. I saw an episode with him and Paul McCartney, and Katy Perry, and he was really very entertaining on that show. Yeah. So I actually have very high hopes. I think he may be good. And he was very, in the scrum on the stage after the session today, very grateful. He kept saying how blessed he was. He talked about he's got a 9-week-old daughter. Craig Ferguson called him the day that his daughter was born. He said his baby daughter and wife were sleeping in the bed, and he took this call, and it was Craig Ferguson saying, listen, only 2 guys from the UK know what it's like to be on an American late night, and it's you and me. And he said, anything you need, call me day or night.
Right.
Happy to help. So, and he was getting this from Fallon and from Colbert. He said the generosity of the American hosts he has met over here has overwhelmed him. So I think it's going to be a very warm show. I don't think it's going to be cynical or edgy, but I'm looking forward to it.
Well, it's because I tend to go to bed by about 10:30, I will be DVRing it.
Right.
Or I'll have to watch it on demand.
Yeah, I'm not staying up for this.
No, not staying up for it because I get up at 4:15. So if I'm watching that, that's over at what time? I'm a little bit in trouble.
Yeah.
Before we depart, and I thank you as always. Hopefully you can join me again.
Yeah.
I do want to say that I've become a progressive TV viewer. I am now binge watching.
Are you? What do you binge watch?
Do you think I binge watched right before I came to TCA?
I don't know. Something.
Actually, 2 shows.
Something you had to catch up on that's on the air now.
Something that's on the air now that I really got into during my holiday break, which was The Affair on Showtime.
Oh, yes. Good choice.
Which just won the Golden Globe.
Yes.
Surprisingly, and Ruth Wilson won also.
Yeah.
Brilliant show. And because you and I are huge fans of nostalgia TV, I had to get my feel of nostalgia. I binge watched season 4 of the Mary Tyler Moore Show.
Oh, my goodness. No kidding. Well, we had Ed Asner at the Hallmark party.
We had Ed Asner at the Hallmark party.
And I talked to him a bit, and I showed here at Press Tour, I've dig up some old 16mm archival footage, and I have the test reel from the Mary Tyler Moore Show, and they're not in the right uniforms. Mary's hair looks funny. They're not in the real office.
Right.
And I asked him about that, and he explained how the Mary Tyler Moore Show got off to a very shaky start.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
He remembers how at the Tuesday table read, he didn't think they'd have a show by Friday.
And look what happened. But like many shows, particularly from yesteryear, when there seemed to be a little more patience, like a show like All in the Family, which, by the way, today, on this day, because this video cast is running in a couple of days, but on this day, which happens to be January 3rd, is it the 12th?
Today's the 12th. So.
On this day in 1971 was the debut of All in the Family.
My goodness, really?
Which is now 44 years old.
Oh, my God.
But on a trivia note, we'll end this on a trivia note. Spin-offs from All in the Family. Do you know how many there were?
I do. Only because you and I have had this.
One of the people
only because you and I have had this discussion.
Right.
There are 5, I believe.
Very good.
Yes, because you've told me this, and I don't think I can name them all now. I mean, there was one is the address of the bunkers.
Right. That's the one nobody remembers.
Right.
704 Hauser.
There. See, I couldn't come up with that.
Right.
Sally Struthers had a show about her character.
Right. Gloria.
Well, it was Archie Bunker's Place.
Yes.
Okay, and. One more. Of course, Maude.
There's one more.
And the Jeffersons? No, the Jeffersons.
The Jeffersons. So you got all 5.
Well, I wouldn't have come up with the address, but I knew, only because we've talked before.
Well,
I cheated.
You didn't cheat. But then what's interesting about All in the Family, here's, again, before we depart, All in the Family is also the grandfather of the two series. And by grandfather, because two
There
of the
was a
spin-offs
spin-off
had
of the
spin-offs.
spin-offs?
Right. Can you
Ooh.
name those?
Well, Jefferson's had a spin-off.
Right.
It was the maid. It was,
Yes.
what's her name? Oh, my God. I can't think of her name.
Her character's name was Florence, but that wasn't the name of the show.
All right, I don't remember the name of the show.
The name of the show is Checking In,
Checking in.
where she was working as a maid. She was running the maid unit at a fancy hotel for 4 episodes, then went back to work for George and Wheezy. And then there was one other spinoff of the spinoff.
Well, the two most successful, Maude and Jefferson's were the big spin-offs.
Yes.
So is the other one, is it one of those shows?
Yes.
Is it Maude?
Yes. What's the name of the spinoff? And it makes no sense, actually.
Then I don't know.
You're going to know the show very. I'll just give you a hint.
Okay.
We're going to play Password.
Yeah?
The password is Dynamite.
Oh, J.J. Walker had a spin-off?
Good times.
Good times.
And what made no sense is the character of Florida, who was Maude's maid.
Yeah.
She's living in Tuckahoe, New York. Florida's her maid. Her husband's name is Henry. Suddenly she's living in a ghetto in Chicago. Her husband is now James. Made no sense.
The man knows television.
But he knows television.
Everything that ever happened in television.
Well,
Privileged
thank
to be
you.
here. And were you thrilled to see Gary Marshall here today?
Oh, are you kidding?
Yeah. Did you get a chance to talk to him?
No, but how could you not love Gary Marshall?
Yeah.
I mean, the man behind Happy Days, Laverne and Shirley, Mork and Mindy, countless Angie.
Yeah.
And he mentioned one of his. He mentioned a show that you wouldn't remember. Nobody else would. Me and the Chimp.
Me and the Chimp.
Right.
Who the heck was
Little
in that?
Cammy Kotler was in that before she did the Waltons. Ted Bessel.
Ted Bessel was in Me and the Chimp from That Girl.
Yes, of
Yeah,
course. He had a chimp.
Wow.
After That Girl. He went from Marlo Thomas to a chimp.
That's not a good choice.
Not a good choice.
When I think of monkeys, I think BJ and the Bear. Wasn't that
BJ and the Bear,
Yeah.
Mr. Smith on
Mr.
NBC.
Smith.
Anything with a monkey, unless you're friends.
Before Cosby came along, and let's not talk about. We can talk another show about Cosby,
Right.
but that those are the kind of reaches at NBC we're stumbling over before Cosby saved their ass. Right.
You want to hear something sick? I can remember that Friday night lineup. You know what it was?
Oh, my God.
Mr. Smith at 8 o'clock on Friday night. Jennifer Slept Here with Ann Jillian.
Wow.
Manimal. And For Love and Honor.
Wow. There should be a prize. Ladies and gentlemen.
Am I going to get a prize?
There should be a car awarded for
Car
that.
award?
That's
I'm going to get an award. Well,
that's
thank you
impressive.
very much, Bill.
Thank you, Mark.
Would
Always a
maybe
pleasure.
you could come back one more time.
I hope
before
so. That'd
we
be fun.
leave.
Let's do it.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure.
All right.
I am Mark Berman. You are Bill Brioux.
Still,
Bill,
yep.
give us your website address.
My last name is BRIOUX, so you just go to Brioux.tv.
Great. Well, thank you, Bill at Brioux.tv.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Take care. See you next time.
Bye-bye.